Next up is Unifize, SAP Startup Studio startup focusing on driving processes through conversations within a manufacturing setup. It's a very interesting concept, right? So joining us from Unifize is Ben Merton, CEO and co-founder. Ben is going to talk about, how some of these objective-driven conversations can really drive some changes within the manufacturing setup. Over to you, Ben.
So thank you, Justin, for that introduction. I'm now going to introduce Unifize. I'm Ben Merton, CEO and co-founder, and we're going to talk about our collaborative process platform. Now, just a bit about us. Unifize is a software as a service, a SaaS platform that helps operations teams at manufacturing companies reduce wasted time and errors by bringing processes and collaboration into one place. And we are a mobile and desktop enabled platform, as you can see on the right-hand side here. Now, by way of background, both Lakshman and myself on the bottom left and right here used to run our own manufacturing companies in various countries, including India, the US, China, and other countries around the world. And basically, Unifize is really born from the problems that we both faced while doing this. And Avinash has been working on building communication, cloud-based technology for the past 15 years. And so we come to this with a unique angle of both the technology side, but also the real-world issues that we've faced ourselves in operational environments. And now those issues can be summarized as follows. The problem we're trying to address at Unifize really is that as most manufacturing companies that we've ever been involved with, either in terms of an operating role or selling, buying from, we see this issue on the left-hand side here of systems being available for managing process and data, which are very structured, database-driven systems. And then you see on the right-hand side the collaboration needs of making that process on the left happen. So you see tools like ERPs and QMSs and PLMs and CRMs do a great job of gathering data, presenting that data for management, very linear sets of processes that need to be followed. But on the right side, you see the emails, the phone calls, the meetings, typically in India, of course, WhatsApps, that are driving these processes on the left-hand side. I've just used an example here of a quality process, but this could equally apply to any process that you see in most manufacturing companies. And the real problem here is that this unstructured communication is separated from where the processes themselves are managed. Now, what does this result in? Well, ultimately, it results in the fact that a lot of people waste time in these environments. Certainly in our experience, in operating environments, this has been the reality, and this certainly also applies to the many customers that we currently sell to now, both in India and outside of the country. And what you see on the left-hand side here is this non-value addition time, this waiting for responses, this following up, this internal meetings, this very human stuff about communicating and coordinating, approvals, coordination, updating different systems, preparing reports. This is what most companies, in most functions, this is again just an example of the quality management function, but it could apply to purchasing, it could apply to sales, it could apply to maintenance. But on the right side here you see that there's very little time left over for the value addition activities. So in the case of quality management, that's identifying non-conformances, defining problem statements, root cause analyses, etc., etc. That's what the quality management team is paid to do, but they're spending most of their time doing this non-value addition stuff on the left. And that leaves even less time for the strategic and improvement activities that these companies need to do in order to be able to manage continuous improvement and grow. And so this is really the problem. Again, just to summarize, people waste an awful lot of time because the systems for managing data and process is separated from where all this unstructured collaboration is happening. So I'm now going to walk you through a quick demo of how Unifize works for a core quality process like a non-conformance. Now, obviously, this can be applied to other processes, both inside and outside of quality, but this is a good starting point to show you how it works. I'm also going to be showing this to you on the desktop, although Unifize is also available on all mobile devices. Firstly, we help people focus on one thing at a time by mapping each quality process record to a dedicated conversation. On the left side here, you can see that we have a list of conversations that are mapped to each process record with an auto number identifier. On the right, we have a window containing a real-time asynchronous conversation about the highlighted process record. Now, this increases the efficiency of your processes by making it easy for users to collaborate without the pain of email ping-pong and excessive CCs. Now, when you start a new non-conformance, you can see that a team is automatically added. This helps you get the correct people and skills focused on specific problems or goals and allows you to keep people in sync without unnecessary meetings and phone calls. These teams can collaborate in real time about this nonconformance, adding files and images to add context. Everyone knows the process they need to follow for this particular record using this status drop-down here, which is fully configurable to your processes. As you can see, this conversation has an owner, which changes dynamically and transparently throughout the lifecycle of this particular process record. Ownership in this way can be negotiated and agreed rather than being enforced unilaterally, and all of this is fully traceable in the conversation history. This helps ensure that people actually take responsibility for an outcome. Unifize also makes it easy for users to collaborate around how data is captured for this nonconformance using these configurable forms on the right-hand side here. So as you fill out this form, you can see that each update is pushed to the real-time conversation, and this helps people spot errors and get involved where they can help. This is particularly important for collaborative processes like nonconformances because filling out these forms is often actually quite complex. You don't know the part number, you don't know the scrap generated or where it was identified, you simply don't know all the details. You'd usually need to walk around and have a meeting and speak to people. With Unifize, the owner or team in this conversation can just add other people to help with filling out data. And this again saves a huge amount of time and effort needed to gather and input that data. Users can also create hierarchies of conversations from the checklist. This means they can link related conversations together. For example, in this case, the user could link two corrective actions to this nonconformance, which would appear as their own conversations with their own owner and status on the left here. And once they're done, users can output a PDF based on the data in this form, along with a QR code. If you print and scan this code from your phone, it'll automatically open the same conversation in Unifize, which obviously helps you create traceability when you need hard copy records. Unifize can also help you increase engagement with your quality processes beyond just your team or even your company. Users can send emails from conversations to, for example, a vendor. This outbound email gets attached to the conversation and the recipient gets a regular email in their inbox. When they reply to this email, the response comes back into this same conversation. And if you add somebody to a process who is inside your organization who's not already using Unifize, they'll also get notified by email and can just collaborate from their inboxes. This makes it really easy for you to implement and adopt Unifize without everyone having to be on the platform from day one. Now, in the Manage view on the left here, managers can get visibility into all their nonconformances and other processes using customizable reports. They can filter and sort these columns and project manage their nonconformances and all their related processes, including corrective actions. They can also see the data they've gathered in the forms on the right-hand side. And all this data can be saved in reports, downloaded into Excel, or even integrated with third-party systems. And now, since you have the data, you can obviously visualize it in these customizable dashboards, which help you get insights into your processes. So I'm now going to show you a quick teaser of a case study for the Wilbert Company, which is a $100 million business based in Ohio, 350 employees. They started using Unifize in February of this year, and we've been able to deliver some pretty impressive results to them, as you'll soon see.
If we go back and we look at some of our historical data on internal non-conformances, we were probably averaging 4 to 5 weeks to get full closure, and with some action taken to prevent reoccurrence. Through the Unifize analytics, we're already showing that our average time to closure in that first month is now 7.2 days. And that's a 75% improvement.
So you can read the full Wilbert case study and go through some other case studies on our website, including some of the companies that we have up here. Now, coming to our use cases, Obviously, what I've been talking about most up till now is the quality management use case, and obviously that's able to deliver better outcomes for quality management teams, including specifically improving problem definitions, better root causes, faster, more effective corrective actions, higher engagement, and improved ownership. But also for field service and installation, we've had some tremendous success, especially with a company called TDPS that was able to massively improve how they manage tickets, respond faster for service and installation requirements from their customers. We have obviously the ability to bring more engagement around conversations and messages that are required to implement field service and installation tickets faster, quicker agent queries, and a better context. So we are able to give people a better understanding about the kinds of tickets that they need to solve and how to go about solving them. And on procurement, we've been able to improve how needs are identified by internal users. We're able to increase the speed at which specifications for vendors are created and obviously distributed out as well. Improve how discussions happen with vendors via email and WhatsApp. Now, you may have noticed that in our demo, some of the visuals will look very similar to WhatsApp. Obviously, we have a very interesting integration that goes on, which helps companies make sense of the chaos of WhatsApp conversations and bring them into a place that's very familiar and simple to use, and helps companies organize that chaotic conversation in a more meaningful way and align it with their existing processes, reduce coordination time, and improve efficiency for that procurement and vendor management use case. And then finally, we've got a preventive and breakdown maintenance use case, which helps people identify and resolve problems faster, involve themselves in breakdown collaboration much more rapidly, especially where that involves collaborating with different teams. When machines go down, it often involves cascading different teams that need to come together to solve problems. It gives them a real-time contextual machine history in a feed, in a conversational environment, and it also makes it much easier to plan maintenance going forward. So these are just some of the use cases. We have even more of use cases that Unifize can be used in as well. This is just a flavor of what we're doing. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of Unifize. Just these 6 points here. Again, there are many other benefits, but these are the 6 we could fit onto the slide. Single point accountability by agreeing ownership for every quality or other objective that has minimal involvement for the management team of a given organization. We're able to speed up employee onboarding because now we have everyone in one place around processes. A team and conversation for every process means that we have better continuity when there is attrition within the organization. So it's easier for new people to come in and get trained on the fly about processes, which reduces onboarding time. We have the ability to reduce firefighting, because obviously most of your employees, as we discussed at the beginning of this, are spending most of their time wasting time coordinating and following up and doing all that non-value addition stuff that we talked about, and we're able to massively reduce that. As Ted Carr has said up here, we've got the reducing process cycle times by 75%, so that the case study I went through very clearly showed that we have measurable outcomes. It's not just unmeasurable, nice to have outcomes. There's very clear benefits that we can prove that Unifize can deliver by cutting out wasted time and errors. We're able to improve on-time deliveries, faster innovation, and more efficient processes. End-to-end visibility, so we're able to give everyone better visibility of the processes we do manage by bringing them into one place with our charts and dashboards, giving you access into the data and activities. And then finally here, we're able to reduce the number of meetings and the prep time for those meetings. And everyone who's been involved in manufacturing has suffered through endless meetings. Unifize by bringing asynchronous conversations to processes, all processes. We can reduce the need for meetings in the first place. People can do things and collaborate asynchronously without physically having to be present. This helps obviously during the time of COVID as well. And obviously, because you have access to the real-time data from these conversations, this massively reduces prep time for things like management reviews and other reviews that may need people to produce data. So that's basically it from me. I'm going to hand you back over to Justin now. Thanks so much for listening to this, and I hope to be in touch with you.
Thank you, Ben, for an insightful presentation on the significance of objective-driven conversations in a manufacturing setup. I'm sure a lot of our audience would be interested to know more about it. So stay tuned for the Q&A coming up.